Looking at a gorgeous, massive bush covered in giant blooms like this, you've got a bigleaf hydrangea. You're clearly doing something right. By following a few highly specific biological rules for how and when you harvest, you guarantee perfect indoor flower arrangements today while completely securing your garden's blooms for next summer. Everything comes down to a single, non-negotiable rule of growth. Bigleaf hydrangeas bloom exclusively on what gardeners call old wood. This diagram shows exactly how that works inside the stem. As late summer approaches, next year's flower buds are already starting to form inside this year's green growth, totally invisible to the naked eye. Because this growth cycle happens out of sight, making a careless cut at the wrong time of year severs those hidden buds. You can accidentally destroy an entire year's worth of flowers before they even have a chance to emerge. To harvest safely, start by heading out in the early morning. The plant is fully hydrated from the cooler night air, which gives your cut stems the best chance of surviving indoors. Limit your harvest to a maximum of 1/3 of the total blooms at any one time, and make sure to spread those cuts evenly around the entire bush. Leaving the remaining 2/3 of the plant intact ensures there is plenty of green foliage left to photosynthesize and feed the root system. Stripping too much away at once will literally starve the plant. When you make those cuts, you have to use the calendar rule. If you are harvesting right now in mid-July, it is perfectly fine to take long stems for large vases. Simply trace the long stem down and sever it just above a healthy pair of leaves. The plant will easily push new growth directly from that junction. But from August onward, your strategy has to change. To protect next year's buds, you must pivot to taking very short stems. This technical diagram shows the difference. The July cut goes deep. The August cut happens precisely above the first leaf pair below the flower head. Dropping that cut line deeper physically slices right through newly forming embryonic buds further down the stem. Adjusting the depth of your shears based on the month is the exact mechanism that balances your desire for fresh indoor flowers with the plant's need to preserve next year's display. Once you bring those freshly cut stems indoors, get them right next to your shears, a clean vase, and a container of hot water. Before you place them in the vase, recut the bottom of each stem and immediately dip the fresh ends into the hot water for 30 seconds. Hydrangeas are notoriously prone to rapid wilting, and this brief hot water shock clears the sap at the base of the stem, allowing water to flow freely up to the heavy flower head. Even with careful prep, you might wake up to find a prized bloom that has completely drooped over the side of the vase. Watch this time-lapse of a simple rescue technique. If a bloom wilts, submerge the entire droopy flower head completely underwater in a bowl of cool water for a full hour. This works because of a unique biological quirk. Hydrangeas can actually absorb water directly through their petals, bypassing the stem completely. A wilted hydrangea is rarely dead. It's just experiencing a temporary hydration failure, and a quick dunk is usually all it takes to reverse it. Back out in the garden in late summer, your focus shifts away from harvesting and toward structural maintenance, starting with deadheading. When you remove the faded, spent blooms, you must use that exact same short August cut, snipping just below the flower head to protect the old wood beneath it. Clearing off these deadheads costs the plant zero energy, and it keeps the overall production cycle moving smoothly into fall. Next, look down at the absolute base of the bush near the soil. You are hunting for the 2 or 3 oldest, woodiest canes on the plant. This comparison makes them easy to spot. Target the thick, brown, bark-covered canes on the left, avoiding the smooth, bright green stems on the right. Cut those 2 or 3 old, exhausted canes all the way down to the soil line. Removing them forces the root system to push fresh, highly productive green stems the following spring. However, never use hedge clippers to shear the entire bush into a tidy dome. Shearing indiscriminately removes the tips of every single branch. You will cut away all of the old wood and its hidden buds, leaving you with a green bush that produces absolutely zero flowers for an entire year. If you want to keep your flowers permanently, late August is also the perfect time to prep blooms for dried floral arrangements. Leave the flowers on the bush and check them by hand. Wait until the petals physically feel thin and papery to the touch before you cut them. Waiting for this papery stage ensures that the moisture content is low enough that the blooms will dry perfectly indoors without shriveling or rotting.
Finally, to support all this growth, maintain a schedule of deep watering once or twice a week, depending on your local heat. By watering deeply and mastering these precise cuts, you get beautiful centerpieces on your table today and a thriving, productive hydrangea bush that will keep pumping out blooms for decades.